Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am PANCZASU, the mighty mega spammer, delighted to welcome you to Endless Space Disharmony with its newest free add-on code, the set for Auriga. I was waiting for a very long time to see this add-on come out, and I'm very happy that it's finally here, and I'm very thankful towards the developers for actually releasing it, because first of all, they already released a ton of content for Endless Space, whereas they didn't really need to do this. I mean, they weren't forced to do this, but they did this anyway, and most of this was free content as well, and I'm amazed by that. That's why I consider them to be one of my favorite developers of all time. But let us not talk too much about Amplitude Studios, no matter how cool it is. Let's talk about Endless Space Disharmony, the set of Auriga add-on. So a few things have been changed, a lot of them in fact. Loads of changes have been imported from the Help Disharmony mod, which I've been using in the past, which is a pretty cool mod, and I'm happy for most of the changes. And I don't think I can show you any of those in the options menu, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to go too deep into those changes, maybe in one future video, but right now I need to tell you what this video is all about in case you're viewing my channel for the very first time. I'm going to play this game, and I'll be playing it on endless difficulty. I'm one of the few players that actually are capable of defeating the game on endless difficulty and doing this on camera as well. Throughout the gameplay, I'll give you not really instructions, but I'll inform you what I'm doing and why I'm doing, in hopes that maybe I'll be able to improve your gameplay, or that you might be able to improve my gameplay. It really depends what kind of player you are and what kind of player I am, and I'm sometimes really good, sometimes I make questionable decisions. Also, I like to roleplay quite a bit, and I often do silly, ridiculous things just because it is fun to do so. But then I always make a disclaimer that this is not something that you should be doing optimally. Alright, so that's an intro for the new people that are new to my channel. If you are a complete newbie to Endless Space, then you might not want to start, experience with my channel from this videocast, because I assume that you already know a few basic things about Endless Space. If you are a fast learner though, feel free to stay, because this game, in my honest opinion, doesn't take a very long time to learn. If you are watching a video and watching what the other player is doing, you can pretty much figure everything out by yourself. That's how I learned to play Endless Space. But if you're not a very fast learner, I suggest you start by watching some of my older videos. Now, with that in mind, what kind of gameplay, playthrough, am I shooting for? Well, I want to do something ridiculous, something that a lot of people have been pestering me to do for a very, very long time. And there's one thing in particular I should be doing. As you know, I've got a substantial amount of custom factions. One of them is currently in production right now, but a lot of those things are in here, and actually some of those, and in the future all of those, will be imported to a mod pack. Shout out to Staffhawk and Whiskerers, or whatever your name is, sorry, for helping with the mod pack. And as in helping, I mean really helping, doing a vast majority of work. Maybe not vast majority, but majority, I would say. So anyway, I will be playing as Pillagers. This is something a lot of people wanted me to do for a very long time. Pillagers is a faction that is focused on killing people, and also killing people in the meantime. They cannot do anything well at all. Their systems are horrible, they don't know what they are doing, but their fleets are absolutely amazingly powerful. It is hard to top their fleets because they have so many good fleet traits. Their ships are just indestructible when it comes to fighting with anybody, really. So this is what I'm going to play with, and to make things a little bit more interesting, I'll also be playing on a tiny galaxy with 7 AIs, all playing on the endless difficulty, because hey, why not? I'm a little bit annoyed that those factions reverted to random factions, because I did set them when I was preparing the videocast, but that's not really a big issue, because I remember what I was trying to get, go for. So basically I'll go for a pretty random, well, not really random selection of races. I'm making sure that there are no duplicates, and I'm making sure that there are Pilgrims for me to kill. I have quite a long history of Pilgrims. I want to kill them every time I see them, and it makes me happy. In terms of galaxy settings, I'll be going for, as I said, tiny galaxy, which will make this a cluster of madness. Seriously, this will be nuts. This entire playthrough will be very short and really rather amusing, I hope. Age is young, because with so little planets, I need to make sure that every planet, at least as many planets as possible, are actually colonizable. In terms of other settings, system balancing is perfect, which is something I almost never do, but right now with such a small galaxy it is pretty much a necessity, otherwise it will just be over before I even start. Galaxy density medium, number of constellations many, to make sure that as many players as I can get to start with. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that as a lot of players will start in their own little constellations, but because the galaxy generation has been changed from what I noticed, everybody will be placed with somebody else. I can no longer make sure that everybody starts with their own little pocket of space that they can safely build in. This will not happen. We will have our first contact within the first few turns, trust me. Star connectivity and wormholes low, just to try and limit the amount of crazy in this playthrough, which will still be very big, trust me. Constellation distance average, because I could care less. Planet per system and planet size bigger and many. The reason why I went for that is yet again because there are so few planets. I must make sure that those that are here are at least colonizable, because otherwise this would be rather annoying. Resources low, however, because this is something I always like to go for. Low resources make it just a little bit more interesting, and this playthrough is going to be very interesting, trust my words. Anyway, I think it's time to start the game, but since it might take a while for the system to generate, I'm going to pause the video and see you in the game. Alright, the galaxy has been generated and it's looking rather decent. I really like when galaxies have a green color to it. It's one of my favorite colors. So I'm rather amazed by that, and as you can see I already moved my scout away. So for that I didn't realize I'm not recording, which is a rather silly mistake. And I'm not willing to restart the series because guess what I found after the first move? That's right, it's Auriga. It's right here. It's waiting for me to take. So let us read you the description of the search for Auriga add-on. So, there we go. Generations ago, Nadine Zoila made room for OP-Bot in an overcrowded ship leaving a dying planet. Though OP-Bot was a skilled medical operative, he had accepted that the humanoids, would save themselves first and leave him to decay as magnetogravitational cataclysms made the planet of Auriga unlivable. Surprised by the offer, OP-Bot repaid the Zolia clan for decades, then centuries, as their restless, homeless clans moved from planet to planet, system to system, and battle to battle. Driven from the simple tundra world by a fleet of pirates, they had once again took up a life of homeless marauders. It was then that OP-Bot had the idea to rediscover Auriga, an idea that quickly blossomed into an all-consuming passion. But memories are faulty, galaxies move, and records are often missing or poorly kept. It turned out to be far more complex than he thought. It was hundreds of years later that he was sure enough of his findings to present them to the very hesitant Tulela. But OP-Bot told her of what he remembered. Endless warrants of laboratories, laboratories, storehouses of knowledge, ruins and artifacts scattered across the landscape like pebbles on a beach. In the end, Tulela agreed to seek that lost and fabled planet. As the tiny fleet arrives, other civilizations that have tracked them or searched themselves for the planet origin begin to appear. The name Auriga is famed across the south of the galaxy. Auriga will once again become a focus of war and strife. For whatever faction can find and hold, this precious world will have access to greater scientific wisdom of the galaxy. Oh yeah, that's a good intro right there in my opinion, because I already found Auriga, as it turns out. The Endless Wonder is called Husk of Knowledge. This is the planet that is always hosting the Auriga. I guess Auriga is the name of the planet, but this thing is basically what this is all about. And just by selling on this planet, you gain a huge approval bonus. Now, from what I know, Auriga always spawns on barren planets, so it's quite difficult to settle on them unless you have the tolerant trait. Now, I do not have tolerant trait. In fact, you may not remember what kind of traits I have, so I'm going to show it to you right now. I do have huge affinity, which is very important. This will mean that for every battle we won, my ships become even more ridiculously powerful, which is what I need. Of course, I've got all the traits that powerful ships need, and you know that when it comes to other stuff, like settling on planets and making population and whatnot, I'm pretty bad. I also have Eternal War, so I can never be at peace with anybody, I can never have any allies, and I'm fine with that. So, Auriga system discovered. That was a quick game event, but whatever, at least I found it already. So I think we've read that already. Or maybe you haven't, but whatever, I'm not willing to make this videocast too long by just reading out text. So let's have a quick look at the heroes that we started with. The first one is not the best hero I could get. I guess he's decent but not that great. Apollo Sundred, he's actually quite nice because, as you can see, he is an administrator, and as Pillagers I really need administrator because otherwise my setting systems are just worthless. He's also a commander and I also need commanders. And this guy is another administrator commander, so that's nice. I guess I'll have to pick the better of the two to govern my plans, but this will come in time when I actually have more dust. Right now I'm losing dust and my approval is unhappy, something I need to fix right away, otherwise I might as well surrender and die, because starting on lower approval than content will make you basically stagnate before you can do anything, and then you will die. So I'm more than happy go almost bankrupt as long as I can maintain the content approval for a little bit longer. I do start with Poor Soul because this is one of my faction traits, which means that this jungle planet is actually not as good as it usually is, but I'm fine with that for as long as I can kill people efficiently, and this is exactly what is going to happen. So first of all, this scout ship is going to stay on Interest, and it is going to guard it from any other transpasses. I'm also going to send my nest ship because as soon as possible I want to colonize this planet, system, before anybody else can do it. Now there is fortunately a tundra with deserted cities. This is relatively easy to colonize, so I know that in research my primary priority sounds rather silly, doesn't it? But whatever, is to be able to colonize tundra planets. It will take me a whole whooping amount of 6 turns because I am playing as Pillagers. We are horrible at everything. I'm only gaining 4 science per turn, but I really need to colonize this tundra right away. Usually I start with soil biology because it's just so good to start with this research, but right now, for obvious reasons, I need to be able to colonize tundra. In fact, I need to do this so badly, I'm considering starting with industry to science conversion that will boost my science output significantly and allow me to colonize tundra in just 3 turns. In my book it is worth it. Yes, my population on my home planet will suffer, but I would rather make those people suffer as long as I can colonize Antres before somebody pushes me away from the system, which could be rather bad. Let's end my turn and await as other people discover me, because they inevitably will do so. I know this because look at how many passageways there are to other locations in the galaxy, and since we are playing with 7 players, plus me, so that's 8 in total, there's almost no way somebody will not discover me really quickly. So I need to make sure that they do not discover me too quickly if that's at all possible, which it isn't. I just have to pray that they are not sending their forces just yet, and they are! We're starting with Sheridan that I can see on the horizon. Pretty bad, because they are very good when it comes to battle, and they disallow my ships to escape if I actually feel like escaping from them, which is slightly problematic. This will give me a lot of problems, but I can beat them with my might if I actually can make some ships. But for the next 2 turns I'm not doing anything before I can colonize Antres. This is my priority number 1. Without colonizing Antres I might as well surrender because the system is just so good. Also there's another player right over there, because I noticed that there used to be an exploration event above the system. Now there isn't one over there. So yeah, oh, those are Pilgrims! Well, I guess I've got somebody to kill, so that's at the very least something. First contact Sheridan Empire discovered, and they attack me immediately. Their scout against my scout, apparently they have more military power than I do. How did that happen? I have no idea, I'll be entirely honest with you. How did that happen? I mean, everybody's starting with the exact same scout template. And I am Pillagers. My scout should be way more powerful than their scout. It should be way more powerful. I mean, when I look at this, I've got snipers, I've got deadly weapons, I've got optimal structure, and whatnot, yada yada yada, all those things. And Sheridan, they've got pretty nice traits on their own, but strong alloys, and that's it. And strong alloys give him more HP, and not more kinetics or deflectors. So I'm really not too sure what is going on right there, but I guess I'll have to accept it and just live with it. So I do not want to be driven off this system, so I'll just go for triple barrier and hope that everything turns out to be alright. In fact, in melee, I'm going to go for magnetic field. Now, a big change that you're going to see as soon as we enter this battle is that one of the bigger balance changes is that now, when our weapon is optimized for one of the battle phases, for example, melee phase, as both of our weapons are optimized for melee phase, those weapons are only 50% effective at the medium and long range phase, which means that they are basically worthless at those ranges. And since I am going for barrier, there is almost no possibility that the enemy will be able to deal any damage to me at all, or rather it will be so insignificant that it will not even matter at all. In fact, you know what, I would rather go for short circuit than barrier, because there is high probability that AI will continuously go for magnetic field. Early on in the game, AI tends to just repeat its battle cards over and over again, so I think I'll go for short circuit, because short circuit does counter magnetic field, and I'd much rather counter the enemy than be, you know, just cool doing nothing whatsoever. This battle is not going to be too exciting. I just entered manual battle because I felt like, okay, why not? It is our first battle of this video, might as well showcase it to you, even though it is the lamest battle of all times. This was probably a mistake by me, but that's fine. It gives us a moment to collect our thoughts and think of what we want to do next. For example, I want to continue going for short circuit because I think the AI will not change its battle card again. This is something that seems quite likely to me. Now the problem is, from what I remember, if those scout is going to blockade this planet, I will not be able to settle on it. Despite the fact that I've got my colonization ship orbiting right above it, it will not be actually able to land and colonize this tundra, even though I will have the technology. Very bad, because this means that my start is actually even worse than I was hoping for, as in I'll need a bigger ship to actually clear the passageway for my colonization ship and then be able to settle down on this planet. What I can do is clear the passage for this enemy scout, hope that he goes away and does not blockade the system. If that happens, I'll be happy. The problem is, it did declare a battle on me, which means that it will most likely not be able to move in this turn. In fact, I'm almost certain he will not be able to do so. But if they move in the next turn, I'll be fine. It will be fine by me. And in fact, they did move. Alright, that's good to know. So they did move, that's good. And let's actually guard the system for a little bit longer, so that nobody can attack my next ship, because this would be rather bad. Next turn, I'll have Tundra colonization, very good. And then I need to get Souls in Biology, anyway fusion plants, and as quickly as possible HE batteries. It is essential that I've got some other type of weapon other than just the good old kinetics. It's not like I've got anything against kinetics, I just need to have my lasers, otherwise I feel like I'll be just utterly destroyed. Alright, Phaedrix, and next turn you actually start going for evolved soils. You do need food, because yeah, you're growing so slowly. Population growth in 9 turns at the start of the game, that's like the worst thing you can imagine, so yeah, let's not do that. Next ship, continue waiting, and let's skip to the next turn. Not Pillagers, I'm Pillagers. Pilgrims are about to discover me, but that's fine, since I colonized Tundra. Yada yada yada. Well, I have no idea what I just said, but I just did, so yeah. Pilgrims discovered, fortunately they usually are not big of warmongers, so even though I want to kill them just because they are pilgrims, I'll refuse to do so for a little bit, because otherwise I could probably be killed. The system that holds the famous planet of Auriga has been colonized, yes indeed, and I am the one who colonized this, which makes me rather happy. Unfortunately, the planet I chose to colonize has deserted cities, which is a very good planet anomaly, one of the better ones in my honest opinion. Not as good as low gravity, but it's close to it. It also means that I probably want to go for arid. Hold on a second, it's arid! Wow, I thought it's desert, that's why I went for arid colonization instead of desert that's why I went for tundra colonization instead of arid colonization, but this arid with low gravity is actually better than my tundra with deserted cities, in my honest opinion. But that's fine, mistakes do happen, and while in this kind of playthrough every mistake will probably mean that I die much sooner than before, I'm still content to some extent at the very least. Alright, well, what just happened? I guess I scrolled by accident, whatever. My science is slowly progressing forwards, that's okay. I now have 4 population, which means that I'm gaining quite a bit more science. Of course, it's nothing, I mean 5 science per 10, it's a laughable amount, but that's fine. I'm also still somehow gaining dust, which is rather amusing, and while I would love to actually make my new Antres system happy, I also need to hire a hero, otherwise I might as well commit a suicide, because I'll die too quickly to even see the effects that being happy would give me. So let's hire a hero. He will cost a bit, but I'm fine with upkeep of 2. So this guy has a labor of 9, that's a pretty decent amount, while this guy has a labor of 4, which is a laughably bad amount. So by all means, I'm gonna go for Sundred. He's a nice guy, and if I need to, I can always assign him to a fleet, and he will be able to fight for me relatively decently, since he is a commander after all. Let's assign him to... do I want to assign him to Andreas? I think I do. I mean, my home system is all nice and dandy, but this system is the one that I care about more, because it has 2 very nice planets, and it does have this Husk of Knowledge, that I'll be able to colonize further down the line. Also, this system is more open to attack since it is surrounded by everything, so I need to make sure that it grows as fast as humanly possible. Alright, I'm going to rename it. So this thing is going to be called Auriga, because, well, it makes sense. This planet is called Auriga anyway, and oh wow! The game recognized it and just called it Auriga. That's hilarious. Thank you, game, for being smart. As for my home system, I'm just gonna call it Pain, because this is what I promised to all of my other people. I don't remember how I called the home system in my mod pack, but that doesn't matter. I think I called it like training grounds or something. It doesn't really matter because pillagers do not care about the names of the systems. They just care about setting them on fire. Alright, Xenobotany, I know that it has been researched, and my scout, I could send it somewhere. In fact, I very well might do so. I will probably be at war with Sheldon relatively quickly, so let's make sure that I know what kind of systems they've got, so that I'm prepared for whatever is going to come my way. I cannot be losing dust. This is the problem, because I will, in fact... Oh, both systems are unhappy. I cannot let that happen, so... You know what is going to happen? I am actually going to make my home system convert industry to dust, so that I have some dust in my bank, and then in the next turn I'll actually be able to do something constructive. I'll make both of my systems happy, however, so at least they are going to make a little bit more progress in terms of everything, and I'm still aiming for dust in this turn, which will put enough dust in my bank to actually survive for the next 2 turns, let's say, and then I'll be able to go for evolved soils on pain, which is something I really need to do. Alright, Metrop is the home planet for United Empire, and they only have this one system. They have no access to anything else, so I blocked them off. Metrop, however, is much better than my system. They have evolved soils with medium turns, so they already got this research installed, and this means that they'll max out on the home system relatively quickly, which also means that they will probably put quite a bit of pressure on me ASAP, because they have nowhere to expand to. They can of course go bypass Auriga and search the other systems, but it is fairly likely that they are not colonizable at all. So I need to be ready. Those guys will attack me quite quickly. In fact, you know what? I should have made my scout stay there and in fact invade Merop. Of course, it is just a puny little scout. He will not be able to invade anything, but he would lower the enemy's approval by quite a bit. And this could have meant the difference between life and death for me. So I'm a little bit annoyed I didn't do that, but I'm fine with that actually. Alright. I'm willing to lose 2 dust in this turn, I guess, just to make sure that Auriga is happy. It will make it grow a little bit faster, although it still grows very slowly. But soon I'll have involved soils, and soon I'll have soils in biology, which will give me additional food, which I obviously really need quite badly. In fact, I forgot to queue up additional production on Auriga, but that's fine since there was no production to be made anyway. So what I need to do now is probably design a ship. Now, I always scrap my standing ships because I do not like names, but I'm going to do so again anyway because I like doing so just because. Alright, so because my faction is modeled on Hisho, they do have a fighter bonus tonnage on ship, which means that fighters that are installed on the ship cost less. Only problem being that I do not have access to fighters just yet, so it's kind of useless bonus for me, unfortunately. I'm going to call this guy Barbarian, because we are pretty much the barbarians of the universe. We care about nothing but setting everything on fire. So Barbarian is a fitting name in my honest opinion. Now I need to make sure that this ship is as optimally powerful as possible, and this sounded really vague, but let me try and show you what I have in mind. Now, kinetics are supposed to be used in melee. That's when they cost almost nothing to install. That's when they have quite a bit of... well, they don't have a lot of damage or whatnot, but they are most efficient on melee range. But I'm considering going for medium, in fact, because it's medium. You know what? Actually, I'm just gonna go for melee. I need as much tonnage as I can get, so let's just do that. And install a billion of those things, because I'm Pillagers, I can do that. 25 kinetics? Well, why not? And then let's add some deflectors, so that 3 deflectors is a little bit not enough. So let's make sure that I've got at least 4 of them. Now, those ships are pretty much glass cannons. They can barely survive a hit, but they can stand their own for a little while. But the more important thing is they can deal a huge amount of damage. Later down the line, when I learn how much defenses the enemy is going to put inside the ships, I will lower the amount of kinetics I have installed to make them just barely enough to kill an enemy ship while killing my own ship. This kind of equal trade is fine by me because you know, that's the best thing I can do right now, in my opinion. Although maybe my ships will be strong enough to actually withstand the enemy firepower and survive, which would also be quite decent. Keep in mind, my ships are very powerful, they might maybe be able to do that. So let's start making a barbarian right now, right here on Auriga. In the next turn, I'll stop production of barbarian and start going for system improvement. But, you know, at least I'll be getting close to making this barbarian done. Alright, so this guy is walking backwards for no good reason. In fact, since he's already walking backwards, let's see what is inside this system. It might be a good system to colonize. You never know, it's better to check. Also, I'm pretty sure that this system is not the Pillagers' home system, but something that they will instead colonize. That's fine with me. It really is, because if they colonize this means that they will take a little bit more time to actually declare war on me. And as I said, they are not an evil faction. They will not seek war with me until it is absolutely necessary. Alright, so I can now... Hold on a second. What has happened? Why can I not make... Oh, because it only boosts... Oh, right, sustainable farms. Okay, so the thing about sustainable farms, they only boost your food on arid tundras, deserts, and Arctics, and I just realized Spain doesn't have any of them. I'll get jungle over here. That's fine, however. I will use the system to make more barbarians. Because, you know, it's efficient, but then again, I'm actually still losing dust, which is not something I can really afford, and I do want Auriga to actually be happy. So instead, for now, I'll make the system convert industry to dust, so that I've got more dust than on average, and this will also make Pain, you know, gain more population faster, which is rather important. Auriga, dear sir, you can pause the production of barbarian for now and continue working on sustainable farms, because I need this badly. It does increase, as you can see, my food production by a lot. Even though my alien graphic is also doing the same thing, I need more population always. As simple as that. And I'm thinking about grabbing the arid colonization, but right now it is not really a priority, because the tundra I colonized is a really big planet, and it will take me a while to actually overpopulate it. So that's fine. And oh! Yeah, pirates. The thing I forgot to mention, I did put them on insane, like I always do, but annoyingly enough, they already spawned on this system, and they will kill my scout most likely, because pirates on insane, they are, well, insane. They can wipe entire civilizations before they can do anything, so we need to be watchful of that. That said, they can be good for farming experience on my ships and heroes, so I need to remember that there are pirates over there, and I need to remember to actually do something about them in the future. Alright, I've got some dust, so in this turn I guess I'll stockpile on a little bit more dust, and in the next turn I'll start making barbarians on my whole system. I think it's a fair idea. I also need to get my heavy acid refineries, which I almost finished researching, so I guess in the next turn I'll actually start making those on Pain instead of barbarians, because having heavy acid refineries will allow me to make more barbarians faster. It's just common sense. Alright. Arbelon, which I can never pronounce, is actually a link to another constellation. This is a big change that was installed in Galaxy Generation, because in the past this kind of galaxy shape would only be... you'd only be able to go to other... wow, I cannot speak English today, what is happening? But normally you are only able to expand to other... not colonies, how's it called? Constellations, that's right, wow, that was horrible. From the middle of the galaxy. Now there are actually links on the side of the galaxy as well. So this is a fairly important system. It does have a tundra, and it does have an arid and a lava-rich atmosphere. Overall, it's a really good section of planets. I like it a lot, but I will need a decent fleet to colonize, to wipe those pirates out, and then I will need a colonization ship to actually colonize this planet, which is something I will do. It's just not something I'm willing to do just yet. So I'm going to retreat from this battle. My ship did survive because it's an awesome ship after all, and that's about that. There isn't anything else I can do in this particular turn, and the barbarian is almost done on Auriga, which is very nice. In fact, I'll start going for another one right away, because hey, why not? Making as many barbarians as possible is very important in my honest opinion. Now, am I willing to declare war on the United Empire and start blockading their home system? I'm not too sure. Let's have a quick look at my current status. Apparently my military is the second lowest in the entire universe, which can either suggest that the United Empire has wars, or statistically speaking it is likely that they actually do not have the worst military, so I should probably hold on and actually not declare war on them just yet, at least until I've got one more barbarian maybe. Anyway, I discovered amoeba. They already have applied Casimir effect because they came from somewhere over there, which is rather scary. Thankfully, amoebas are really peaceful, and I do not have to be afraid of them for now, at the very least, I think. Anyway, fusion plants have been discovered, and oh boy, I actually have titanium on my home planet. This changes everything. This means I've got access to missiles. Missiles are incredibly powerful, and they have excellent long-range weapon. I want them a lot. This is my #1 priority now. My #2 priority is actually grabbing epigenetics so that I can expand to more systems later down the line. But seriously, if I can get ion torpedoes, and the enemy neglects going for offensive shaft, which is the flag defense modules that makes you protected against the torpedoes, then we are all good. I'll wipe out everybody out there. But still, I'm rather concerned about, you know, the Empire. They scare me quite a bit. So as soon as I get another barbarian, I think I'll just go at them and try and kill them. This is a risky choice. Then again, my first video cast shouldn't be too long, and I'm thinking about ending it relatively soon-ish. So first of all, I'm gonna grab the director upgrade on my hero. Since he's an administrator, he needs extra labor, because this will give him more production and more food. So that's important. Let's finish the movement on those of my guys and the scout. Am I willing to take my chances and actually declare war on the United Empire? You know what? I want this playthrough to be exciting. I want this to be nuts. And what better way to make it nuts than by declaring war on somebody that I should not be declaring war on? So, I know you're very good at that. Thing is, I think I'm a little bit better. Declare war! You're going to run the around because I'm coming for you, I'm going to kill you, and I'll enjoy every second of your murderous agony, which doesn't make any sense grammatically speaking, but whatever. Let's start making heavy assault refineries, and after that, more barbarians, because hey, why not? I really want to colonize the system. I want to do this badly before anybody else does it. But I need a fighting force. I need to start attacking Merope. It will take me a while to get the research required to actually lay siege to the system and capture it, but I'm a very patient man. All I need to do is make United Empire stagnate to death. And then I'll probably secure victory because, you know, those will be one less enemy for me to deal with. So by all means, this is something I want to do. Anyway, because this video cast... Oh, actually... Wow! They have 5 ships already. All of them are really scary. 408 military power. Actually, hold on a second. No. 204 military power per a single ship. Mine only has 168. How did they do that? I have no idea. They also have a hero already. It's a battle-focused hero because I can recognize the icon. I should not have done that. I really shouldn't have. And I cannot really even, you know, for the next 4 times we are forced to be at war. So, this will be a frantic defense, and I'll have to do the best I can to actually stay alive. But keep in mind, I am the Pillagers. What I'm good at is killing everybody and joyfully slaughtering entire civilizations. So for now, I think I'm fine. In fact, I'm going to raise taxes just because of this, just to celebrate the fact that I'm fine for now. I'm going to lose a lot of dust because military density costs a lot, but the scout, once destroyed, will no longer cost dust, which I guess is nice, isn't it? Anyway, this I think is a good, nice summary of our first video in this playthrough. I have colonized a new system, and I'm already at war, which is the best start I could think of. Last time I started my playthrough with a war, it was one of my best playthroughs ever, so by all means I'm willing to stop it right there, because things are going wonderfully amazing so far. I'm going to obviously lose my scout, but that's okay, I will not have to spend money on him. I'm excited, and I cannot wait to see what the future is going to bring, but this card is actually very useful. He will show me that the enemy is going for quite a bit of kinetics and deflectors. They're going for balance between the two. And I got for melee range kinetics, alright. Deflectors 93.6 military power, something that I should keep in mind, alright. In a lot of HP, which is slightly problematic, but keep in mind, I do have way better traits than than Sheridan do, so I should be able to wipe them out relatively easily when it comes to fight when we both have equal armies. So you're just going to die, because keep in mind Sheridan do not allow my fleets to actually escape from a battle. That's fine though. Anyway, it was PANCZASU, the Mighty Mix Spammer. If you somehow managed to enjoy my video cast, then please feel free to leave a like, Maybe subscribe to my channel if you wish to see more of my content. Also, please do leave a like, it does help me quite a bit. And I already talked about comments, but I like reading them, so it again. Comments, they help. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you online.